if the value selected from that button is view saved image, what we're going to do is get a file name from the user, and then put that into a view layout. And here's some options for view layout. View new will create a second GUI, not the one that we're currently in. This little center face option just centers it on the screen. So view new layout, and with the center face option, creating a new GUI. That GUI is going to contain an image which is loaded from the above file name. So it's going to display a file name that we saved above. If the value selected on that little choice button was download new image, then what we're going to do is have a new image, load that from a URL that's requested from the user. It's converted to a URL, and the default there is this image. And again, we're taking that image which is in the GUI, and we're changing the image to the new image which we just downloaded and placing it in the GUI. If the user selects this little bar, that's really just supposed to be a visual separator bar. Don't do anything. Do nothing. That's the block. That's the action block. And if the user selected exit on that drop-down button, we're going to play sound, this thing, that was the function that we imported, and then exit the program. So that little tan choice button gives the users, again, it's like a menu option that gives the users a bunch of things to choose from. And then there's another choice button that has some info, about info, and it basically it's an about box. The action block for that choice button is this. It just alerts the username, or the user with a bit of information here, copyright information. Okay, now some more GUI words. This is sort of the opposite of across. Instead of putting items next to each other, it goes back to the default of putting them below one another. Again, we're going to use that space item to separate the GUI widgets by 5 pixels. And then we're also going to use a pad function which will put 2 pixels of blank space before each of the next widgets. And then this is basically a line, drawing a box in the widget, white box that is 550 pixels across and 1 pixel down. That's a line. And that's just a cosmetic separator. It doesn't do anything. We have no action block there. And then we're changing the format again to put some more space between the widgets, so a pad of 10. We have a little text header. And we usually click on list on the right. And then the return function puts a new row into the GUI. And we go back to the across format. We're going to set things again. Now each new thing that appears in the GUI is going to go next to each other. Now here is the picture item that we've referred to a couple times. Basically, it's just an image that's in that in the GUI, and we get that image from the downloaded image at the URL which was selected by the user. Then we have a text list, and in that text list, this is again a selection list, text selection list. This is one of the main things that you'll see used in Rebol GUIs. What goes there, the data that goes in that, is the effect types block that we created, the first thing we created in this thing, in this program. So there's a block of effect types. You're going to see those effect types listed, the ones that we created in the beginning of the program. Invert, flip, and so on. Grayscale, emboss. That will appear in a text list. That's another thing on the GUI. And when any of those words are clicked from that list, this is the action block that is performed. What happens is we create a new word for an effect, and that is the value which is selected from that text list. This idea of value is very important. Whenever you're working with text lists, you want to do something with what the user is selected on, you use that word value. You've seen that already a couple times, so it's very important to notice that. And we're just converting it to a string. So current effect here is the word that the user selected from that list. And what we're doing is we're changing the effect applied to that picture in the GUI. And what we're doing is some little formatting here, converting it to a block, forming it, that word that the user selected, just so it has the appropriate format in Rebol. Rebol expects for that effect it needs to be in a block. So all we've done here is affected the picture with the effect that the user selected on, and then we show it again using the show word to actually make that appear in the GUI. You always have to use the show word when you want to update the GUI. So that is the entire GUI. That's all the stuff that appears in the view layout. Now here again are some options, refinements for view layout. Again, we're using the center face. This whole program is going to be centered. And what we're putting in that layout is the GUI block that we created above. And this time we're going to use an option, view options. And here's the option. It's no title. So you're going to see there's no actual title bar like there are in most programs. It's going to be a big square on the screen. Put this all in, copy it and paste it into Rebol, and you'll see each of these items in the GUI. You hear the sound when the program closes, and so forth. This is in. And we're getting again requesting text from the user. The title of it is enter the URL of an image to use, and the default text is this URL. We'll use that. Okay, now here we get, again, we've done this view layout with the option of no title. So we have no title bar. Here's our first button that we can select from. Save that image. Here's our default name. Click save. We also have the button here, info. Click info, it gives us that little alert function. Or if we click about, both of those do the same thing. When we click on the items in the text list now, it does the code that is in that action block, which applies each of those effects to the picture item. Flip it, rotate it, and so forth. Or apply none. Again, we can go here. We can view the save image. And again, what that did was it let us select an image, and it created a second GUI. There's a second GUI separate from the program. That's the view new function in the GUI layout. Lets us view an image that we've selected from the hard drive. If we want to download a new image, we have those if statements that let us select, and this is one of the if options. Creates another image, and again we can go through all of the items in the text list. And if we click on this, it doesn't do anything because we have an if statement, or an if conditional that checked to see if it was this. It doesn't do anything. And when we click on exit, it runs the play sound module, plays the WAV file, and then ends.